All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that motion passes. Okay. The next order of business, we have a review of proposals and consider selection of a developer for an EDA property at 6110 Lakeland Avenue. John, or, Dan, you want to talk us through that?
Yes, good evening, everyone. We ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, tonight is, you're being asked to select a developer for the property at 6110 Lakeland Avenue North. Here is an recent aerial photo for the property there, outlined in green in the middle. Those buildings have now been all been demolished just a few weeks ago. So we received 3 proposals for this RFP for this property. The 3 proposals are Great Buy Homes for $112,500, and they want to build a single-family home with an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. Then Noberg Homes is the second for $111,750. They would build the same type of structure. And then SMC Construction for $110,000, which is they want to build a two-family dwelling. All 3 builders would close on the lot by November 17th of this year, and then complete the home a year later. All 3 builders intend to sell to owner occupants. However, these units may eventually wind up as rentals, through time. Here, I'll just go through these one at a time. The number at the top shows the number that I'm referencing. So number 1 is Great Buy Homes. So all these next few slides will be about Great Buy. Here is their preliminary site plan. The proposed setbacks are in the front 32, on the sides 10 feet, and in the rear it's 180. So it's a very deep lot, if you can see. In the lower level of their proposal, it will be a family room and 2 bedrooms. The main floor will have the kitchen, dining room, living room, 2 bedrooms, and then 1 full bath. And then also on that same level will be the ADU, which is there will be a kitchen, dining, and living room, and then 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. All on that one level. They will also have sort of a unique, in my opinion, a unique bonus room. It's a room above the garage, kind of like a story and a half, and that will have 1 bedroom and 1 bath. And here is a proposed elevation of the home, showing that bonus room. So there's 4 stalls, 3 for the home, and then 1 stall for the ADU. So moving on to the second proposal, which is Noberg Homes. Here is their preliminary site plan for a single family with an ADU as well. Their setbacks are very similar to the last one, which are front 30, sides 10, and then the rear is 180. So the building is near the front. Here is the lower level of their proposal. It is a family room, 2 bedrooms, and a 3/4 bath on the lower level. And then on the main floor, it will be a kitchen, dining room, living room, 3 bedrooms, and 1 3/4 bath on that level. The ADU will also be on that same level, kitchen, dining room, and living room with 1 bedroom and 3/4 bath. And here is proposed elevation for this building. It's a photograph of the building that they built at 482456, that just sold this year. So it's the same exact home that they're proposing for this lot on Lakeland. And then third is SMC Construction, and here is their preliminary site plan. This site plan only shows the front of the lot, not the entire lot, but that's how they chose to submit their site plan. So the setbacks in the front are 36, so it's a little bit farther back than the other 2. Both sides would be 17 feet, so it's a little more of a space on the sides as well. The back is approximately 170 feet, so it's very similar to the other 2. I want to note that your packet contains a basement plan for SMC's proposal, and then I also noted that there is no basement.
Right.
So what they did was they submitted a basement plan, but they told me that they weren't going to be building a basement. They just wanted to submit this plan for consideration. So I forgot to note on the basement plan that this was not something that they were going to be building. But I just wanted to clarify that in case you saw that. So there are no basements, but it's for the two-family dwelling. So on the main level for SMC is each unit will have a great room, kitchen, and dining room, and then 1/2 bath for each of the 2 units. The upper level for SMC will have 3 bedrooms and then 2 baths for each unit. And then here you can see their proposed elevation for the two units, 2-car garage for each unit. So our staff comments, all 3 proposals have strong points and would be a great fit for the lot. I'm just pointing out here a little bit of the strengths of each proposal in our opinion is, first of all, Great Buy is offering the most money for the lot, which is $2,500 over the $110,000 minimum. They have previously purchased an EDA lot at 3556 Major, which is a very tiny lot, if you remember that one. That one had the capability for an ADU as well. And they have also purchased many lots with the New Hope EDA, and we've heard good things about them. So their EDU will be a little bit different than Noberg's. It will have 2 bedrooms as opposed to 1. For Noberg, they are offering $1,750 above the minimum price. They're well known to the EDA. They have purchased many, many lots. I've worked with them, probably the most of any builder in selling these lots. So the one, as I said before, that they are proposing to build a very similar home to the home that they built at 482456, the ADU with the home, which recently sold for $670,000. So very in-demand product there. And then lastly, SMC, they're the only proposal for a 2-family dwelling rather than a single family. So that's a little bit of a bonus density there. They have built 1 home in Crystal. In 2017, it was a home at 5728 Oregon Court. So tonight you're being asked to consider a motion to tentatively select one of the 3 proposals, either Great Buy for $112,500, Noberg for $111,750, or SMC for $110,000. The next steps would be, upon selection of a proposal, staff will work with the builder to finalize the site and building plans, and then the public hearing for the lot sale would be about a month from now, September 17th, with construction in the 24-25 period. So that's what I have for my presentation tonight. 2 of the builders are here tonight. Actually, all 3 are here tonight, so if you have questions for them, they'd be happy to answer questions too.
Thanks, Dan. What questions or comments?
I'm impressed by all 3 proposals. I think they're all very good.
David?
What's the difference between a house with an ADU and a multifamily dwelling?
Well, an ADU is, it's considered an accessory use, so the unit is smaller than a duplex. So with a duplex, both units would typically be the same size. With an ADU, it's an accessory to the single-family home. It's supposed to be smaller. It's built to be smaller.
Jim?
Just like to make a comment about the ADUs. We put that kind of in our plan for some of the expansion. That was one of the things we put in place to try to deal with some of the higher density issues coming from the Met Council. That's something we did kind of quite a ways back. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised at how well it's taken off and the new builds that have occurred, and they've been filling up. So I'm impressed with that style of living. I was considering doing that with my own house, but I don't have a willing wife, so that didn't happen. But yeah, it's kind of a unique way to have some additional density in a residential area without it flat out being a duplex. So I do like the idea of ADUs. I prefer that.
John?
Yeah, I was leaning towards the multifamily home because it had a basement. And they're not going to have a basement now, so I guess,
You don't have a basement.
yeah. So that's kind of changes that plan. I guess my preference would be between one of the two ADU homes and, you know, I guess being how Noberg, was it Noberg had done the most business in Crystal?
Yes,
Yeah.
they've done quite a bit, yes.
Yeah, and they had put a really nice home on that lot on Bass Lake Road on 56. So I guess that would be my first choice, so.
Jim?
So on the Norberg, I guess I didn't take a close look at the schematics. Where's the point of entry on the Norberg home? Norberg. Can you show that to me?
Pull that up here.
Yep, sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
There we go. So,
Yes, right there.
and then,
Oh, okay.
There is a side entrance.
I guess I did see that.
So the ADU could be entered two different ways, through the garage and then also through a separate entrance on the, that would be the north side of for this lot.
Yep.
John?
to clarify, I think this is going to be a reverse plan,
Oh,
right? So the floor plan and the elevation you see from the actual house here built at 482456, reverse that, flip it. So the garage is on the right, house is on the left. So the ADU entrance here would actually be on the south side.
Forrest?
As I said, I think all three proposals are strong, and I think we're very lucky to have. I love it when I get more than one good proposal on something. It's always a nice problem. But I personally am preferring Great Buy Homes. I think that they have a very kind of creative floor plan that's very marketable, and then also, I really think that they're all three proposals are so close that at the end of the day, they did bid the best, like the price is the best, so. I also liked how they had they had the 2 bedrooms in
Yes.
correctly, and I find that will add more value to the ADU and likely the property value.
Jim?
You know, I had a whole bunch to say, but most of it just went out the door. I agree with Forrest 100%. 100%. I think I like the design better. I like the fact that it was the higher bidder. Yeah, I like the style, the uniqueness of the room above the garage. The 2-bedroom attracted me as well, so yeah, 100%.
Yeah, personally, I would echo that as well. I really like the bonus room. That's something you could put on Airbnb and, make some dollars that way. And so I like all three options. As we think about economic density and just the more bodies we can get living in Crystal, so all of these options provide that. But yeah, I really like the bonus room and the design of that Great Buy Homes option. Other comments, questions? Are we ready to take this or does someone have a motion?
I can make a motion.
Okay, John.
I make a motion to select a proposal from Great Buy Homes for the development of DDA property at 6110 Lakeland Avenue North.
Do we have a second? Forrest?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That motion passes.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, we should have asked.
Yeah, it kind of felt like high stakes with them all there.
Yeah, they're all in here. Yeah, all come forward.
Great, well, that's exciting. Great to see more development in Crystal. Okay, if we look at our agenda, I think we'll move on to a property status update. So, John, I'll hand it over to you.
Each other, I'm sure.
All right, thank you, President Onastrosin and Commissioners. So I don't have that many, but I wanted to give some updates on a couple of active construction projects. New Horizon Childcare is expecting to open their new facility at 7057th at the end of October, if all goes as it's going now on the construction side. So they are getting close to opening, a little over 2 months. Duncan is expecting to open their renovated former Dairy Queen building on Bass Lake Road in mid to late October. Xfinity is going to be opening their new storefront between the Chipotle and the new Wells Fargo space at 6,000 or 5600 West Broadway in that mall. They're expecting to open tomorrow, but they're going to have a ribbon cutting sometime in October that the city council members, you'll all be invited to. 5240 Apartments is opening for tenant move-ins on August 26th. They were really trying to get that before Labor Day weekend, so families with kids especially have an opportunity to move in before the kids start school, so that's good. And then one new thing I think we mentioned to you that may be coming up, we have heard that Woda Cooper, a developer out of Ohio, who was the original party interested in the 5240 Apartments site several years ago, has submitted a tax credit, housing tax credit application for the property at 6000 56th Avenue North. This is right at the northeast quadrant of Bass Lake Road and Bottineau Boulevard. So this would be very similar to the Sand Company's building, 5240 Apartments. It would be slightly smaller because the site is smaller. So it'd be 44 units instead of 58. And this is a little zoom in on the site. And then this is their very preliminary site plan. Again, this has not been submitted to the city yet. It's been submitted for their low-income housing tax credit application. This would be another affordable project, very similar tenant mix to 5240 Apartments. Roughly, most of the units would be workforce housing with some deeply affordable as well. Just to quickly walk you through what they're thinking to fit everything on this site. There would be two existing driveways, which for the office buildings here today, they would utilize those two driveways. This driveway on the west would go to a parking lot that would drop down and basically be a ramp to a garage door to the basement garage, which would actually extend here. And on top of the roof of that part of the basement garage, they would have this very small area for accessible spaces, maybe one or two guest spaces, short-term parking, deliveries, drop-offs, something like that, and then the trash enclosures would all be on top of the roof of the parking garage. And then the actual building would be here, and there would be a basement under that that would also be parking garage. So they would have, at this point, it's looking like they would be just over one space per unit enclosed in the garage, but they would be at about 1 2/3 spaces per unit total because they don't have a lot of space for surface parking. And they would need to submit, basically make a case for that as part of their zoning approval, but which we would not anticipate receiving that until, if they are awarded tax credits in January of 2025, a zoning application might come in late spring, early summer, maybe midsummer 2025. So this is just a preview, and thanks to Acrobat, I need to manually flip that. So, and these are the building elevations. So the south elevation would be from Bass Lake Road. The north elevation would be from the backage road that runs behind it. So, again, as you can see, it's very similar to 5240 Apartments, just somewhat smaller and a straight line instead of an L shape. So we don't really have a lot more information to offer on this, but I thought we should share that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
David?
Was the new apartment on Broadway, is that a 4-story or is that 3 stories?
It's 4 stories.
Is it? Okay.
On top of a basement garage, so very similar to what you just saw.
Got it.
All right, thanks, John. Okay, any other business? Yeah, David?
Well, not business, I just have another question. Any word on the old Wells Fargo location, or is that just something that, like, when we hear something, we'll know about it eventually?
Yeah.
Thing? It'll just be a while?
Exactly. Commercial real estate, that world moves much more slowly than residential. We did provide a potential development flyer with information about city utilities and how many units they could put on it and all that. The developer has that material available. We have it, or excuse me, the developer. The realtor for Wells Fargo has that material. We have it on our, I think we have it on our website, or we at least have it available to people who ask about it. But we haven't had a lot of interest so far. I would not be surprised if that building takes a while for it to sell. That's just kind of the way that market sector moves.
Gotcha, thank you.
Is there any activity with the Big O's former lot there?
We have had, every now and then we get inquiries about that property, but not very often. They're currently listing it at 1.3 million, which may be too much. The building does need some work, to repurpose it or do whatever with it. So we continue to try to, we mentioned that site along with the Crystal Gallery Mall, the south end of the Crystal Gallery Mall, to potential developers. I will say, as far as market rate multifamily development is basically frozen right now because of the interest rate situation. Everyone's kind of waiting to see if rates come down. There have been articles about this, I think maybe in the Star Tribune, about and other publications about how it's just the market rate development, new project starts have kind of stopped for a while. That might dramatically change once the interest rates start coming down and developers start feeling more confident about getting financing. But yeah.
Okay. Forrest?
Speaking about that property, I feel like it's degrading very quickly in terms of its visual quality. I mean, it's got a number of broken windows now. I'm curious, at what point does it become like just blighted?
David?
Just to follow up on that, how long has that building been vacant? It seems like it's been at least 5 years, 4 years?
About 2 years,
2 years?
roughly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3, maybe.
Okay.
When the tire shop shut down. So I didn't know about the broken windows. We did notice the long weeds in the parking lot, and we are starting enforcement action for that.
Okay.
It has been registered as a vacant building, so that part is done, but we do monitor it. Certainly the broken windows are something new that we'll definitely want to
Yeah.
check on, because that kind of stuff is a concern, especially in that area where we've got a lot of eyes on it, a lot of people, that's what they know of Crystal, is that area. And so I thank you for mentioning that.
When I say broken, I don't mean like it's there's like a crack, like it looks like somebody threw a rock at it or something, so.
Well, that matters too,
Yeah.
right? So, thank you.
John?
And then lastly, the fourplex on Welcome, any updates on that?
They continue to make progress. It is, the exterior is roughly done. I don't know where they're at in getting the driveway paved, but
Yeah.
they have made a massive amount of progress in the last several months. So winter's coming, so we will continue to monitor the situation. We will be giving you an update on that this fall,
Okay.
if they don't wrap it up.
All right, anything else? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? John?
So moved.
All right, do we have a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Crystal. At this time, I'd like to call to order the council meeting. Let's start with roll call, please.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Budashevsky.
Here.
Councilmember Cummings.
Here.
Councilmember Eidbo.
Here.
Councilmember Kamish is absent. Councilmember Kaiser is absent. Councilmember Onessa Rosen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, council, we have an agenda before us. Looking for a motion on that agenda. John?
So moved.
All right, looking for a second. Thanks, David.
I will second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is items that are routine and non-controversial in nature. I'll read those into the record at this time. First items are minutes for the following meetings: June 16th, 2024 for the work session, as well as the council meeting, and August 1st, 2024 for our budget meeting. Second item is the approval of license applications submitted to the by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in her office. Approval of donations, of donation agreement with Robbinsdale School District for receipt of a bus. Adoption of a resolution amending the city's approval for the tree list. Adoption of a resolution ordering preparation for the assessment rolls. Declaring the amounts to be assessed and setting up a public hearing for October 15th. And that's for the 2024 delinquent accounts. Last item is an adoption of a resolution approving the grant agreement with Hennepin County Youth Activities for Twin Oaks Park. Looking for a motion on that one. Go ahead, John.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
All right, Forrest?
Second.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Benjamin Fugate? Would you like to speak during the public hearing, or would you like open forum?
That's fine, that's fine.
I mean, it seems to be related to LRT, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to move you to the public hearing. All right. Next is open forum. Just a clarification what open forum is. It's an opportunity for anyone from the city to come and address the council. We like to hear from you. It is a public place where you can have the community hear your concerns. We do allot 3 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic, and it's a really underutilized tool that I think the citizens should be aware of. Is there anybody wishing to speak during that does not have anything to do with LRT?
I have a question and one statement on it, if I may.
Is it related to the LRT?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
I would have submitted it if I had time.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and step forward? I would like you to state your name and address.
Okay. My name is Benjamin Fugate. I'm at 5602 57th Avenue North in Crystal, right by the airport. David knows me. We didn't do night to night this year, but I was just wondering how crime is looking. I actually got a report not too long ago. A couple things at 7600 somewhere, Bass Lake Road. It might be New Hope side, but very close to here. I heard about the theft there, and also the Becker Park shutdown. I think there's been multiple shutdowns. Just wondering what's going on with that, how that's going. And then was very concerned that that hundreds of residents were asked to remove trees in this very expensive time period that we're in right now with high inflation, things like that. And I'm sure that actually promoted inflation, because I'm sure that those arborists charge more because they knew the demand. I ended up spending almost $2,000 removing a tree, so it's been quite expensive. I understand the concern, but just wondering why that was done with just increased costs as they are right now.
Okay.
Did you get all that?
I got all that. So something I failed to mention, we won't be addressing these things on the fly like that, but we will definitely be talking about it. I'm going to ask some staff to reach out to you to answer some of your questions specifically. I think we have some things that probably will be addressed maybe even later in the council meeting. I'm not sure. Oftentimes we get to announcements and we ask for some updates on the very things that you're looking for. So we've taken notes. Do you have proper people? And you can take that and we'll get to you on your specific concerns.
That's fine.
All right. Anyone else wishing to bring anything up for the council or for themselves? However you want to look at it. Seeing nobody, we will be done with open forum. Next is the public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive comment, council consideration regarding the municipal consent plans for the Blue Line extension. John Sutter, are you going to kick us off on this?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. And just for the members of the public, I know we already had one Zoom question about will Zoom attendees be able to speak During the hearing, yes. But first, I would like to go through the slideshow, so to kind of ground everybody in what the project is in Crystal specifically, and also what municipal consent is. And then, once the hearing is open, my suggestion would be for the mayor to first recognize people that are physically present, and then we would move on to those attending remotely. So we're here tonight for the municipal consent public hearing, and that will be followed by a city council discussion in a work session after the council meeting concludes tonight. So what is this proposed project? This is an extension of the Blue Line light rail transit facility. It currently runs from Target Field Station in Minneapolis to the Mall of America in Bloomington, including the stations at MSP Airport and places along the way. The extension would take that from Target Field Station, go the other way, out our way, through Robbinsdale, Crystal, and Brooklyn Park, and it would end at Oak Grove Parkway just north of Highway 610. The extension would be 13.4 miles long and have 12 stations. Construction start is anticipated in 2027, with the line opening in 2030. So, what about the Crystal segment? It's 2 miles long. The LRT tracks would run in the median of Bottineau Boulevard. And to do that, the project would remove the inside lanes in each direction of Bottineau Boulevard so that it would be reduced from 6 lanes to 4. And that would create a wider median, which in turn creates space to put the LRT tracks. There would be an interchange at Bass Lake Road. That means Bottineau Boulevard through traffic would bridge up and over Bass Lake Road. There would be ramps connecting the two roads, and then a bike ped path that would pass under the Bottineau Boulevard bridges and ramps. The Bass Lake Road LRT station would be at grade, at ground level, in between the bridges, and there would be a park and ride lot on the west side of Bottineau Boulevard, just south of the telecommunications tower. So, what is municipal consent? Well, state law provides 3 options for each city along the route. There's approval, which is where the city approves the plans that have been submitted to us by Metropolitan Council. The city could take no action, which by default becomes the same as approval, or disapproval, in which the city must identify changes to the plans that would result in approval. Disapproval would trigger a hearing by Metropolitan Council, which means if the city disapproves, the city would have to make its case to the Metropolitan Council, which is the governing body of Metro Transit. And then they will decide whether or not to make the city's changes. And I want to emphasize this, especially for members of the public. There is no provision in that statute for a city to just say no to a light rail transit project. There's no such thing in the statute. What municipal consent is not about. It's not about LRT versus or compared to other forms of transportation. Municipal consent is not about the question of whether LRT is cost effective or operational issues related to LRT. Those are all valid questions and issues, but the City of Crystal has no authority to address them. That authority is with Metropolitan Council and Hennepin County. They are the decision makers on those bigger issues and questions. Under the state law, our focus has to be on the design plans that they have submitted to us, the city. So the next step is for me to walk through the segments from south to north so everyone is familiar with what the project would physically mean, what those plans are. And these are excerpts on the screen. These are excerpts from the design plans that were submitted to us by Metro Transit, Metropolitan Council, at the end of July. So let's see if I can move this. Okay. So this is, again, left is south, north is to the right. This is Highway 100 in Robbinsdale. This is the existing interchange. Yellow is proposed asphalt pavement. Red is proposed concrete, although it might be landscaped instead of concrete. Medians, things like that. Blue is the proposed LRT tracks. And then orange are new structures, new bridges. So the northbound third lane would drop, and that's the inside lane, coming out of Robbinsdale would drop between the 100 ramps and 47th Avenue. On the southbound side, over here, the configuration would be roughly the same as what's out there today. North of 47th Avenue up to Corvallis, again, the inside lanes would be removed to create space for LRT tracks in the median. They would, however, add back a third southbound lane as you approach 47th because of the vehicles queuing up to get on the 100 ramp. Important to note that this would shift the roadway curb further west than where it is today. Apart from that, though, in this segment, the proposed project generally fits within the existing road footprint, and that's, again, because of the elimination of one lane in each direction. That creates that space in the existing footprint. There would also be a traction power substation somewhere around here. Best guess, it would probably go on this vacant lot that sits right there. But traction power substation is, if you've been on the LRT routes, you may have seen them. They're kind of a small building that has all the transformers and other things that I don't know much about that help the LRT to operate since it is a fully electrified train. So going from Corvallis up and over the Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railroad tracks, again, because the inside lanes are removed in each direction, that creates space to put the LRT tracks in the median. However, in this segment between Corvallis and Wilshire, one of the things that the project did in response to city concerns is that in addition to 2 lanes in each direction, that there be 8-foot shoulders. And the reason that's so important here is because this bridge is the only way for our first responders to get to the northern third of the city when a 2-mile-long, slow-moving eastbound freight train is on the CPKC blocking Douglas and Broadway, and maybe Winnetka too. So this is a very important place for us to be able to get to the northern third of our city for emergency response. The 8-foot shoulders is to provide a place for the vehicles to move over into during peak hours when both lanes are probably pretty full with traffic. Even with the shoulders and the LRT tracks in the middle, it generally fits within the existing road footprint. And you note the project at this point is only planning to remove a couple of the existing spans. Most of the existing road bridge would remain, as well as the retaining walls on either side of the approaches to that bridge. And then from Wilshire Boulevard to Bass Lake Road, this is where the most significant changes would occur. Bottineau Boulevard through traffic, instead of being an at-grade intersection, which, by the way, is currently the busiest single at-grade intersection on the route, instead of being an at-grade intersection, the project would turn it into an interchange. The through traffic, the 2 through lanes of Bottineau would pass over Bass Lake Road on bridges. In between them, staying down at grade, would be the LRT tracks with the station platform, which is this pink color here. The north end of the platform would be accessed from the sidewalk that runs on Bass Lake Road. The south end of the platform would be accessed from a pedestrian bike path that would go under not only the Bottineau bridges, but also the ramps, so that the only thing pedestrians, bicyclists, and others rolling would need to cross here would be the LRT tracks themselves. They would not have to cross any roads to get from one side of Bottineau to the other. There would be a park and ride space lot. I don't remember exactly how many spaces. I think it's low, just over 100 maybe, 120, something like that in this area. And also another traction power substation will be located somewhere in this area on the west side of Bottineau, just south of the cell tower. Also in this area would be 2 of the 3 total acquisitions anticipated for the Crystal project, and they would be here, the Schrader office building and the U-Haul, both of which would be necessary to build the park and ride. So looking at Bass Lake Road just east to west, the most significant thing, and this is the only access change on the entire Crystal segment, is that the left turns from southbound Elmhurst to eastbound Bottineau would be prohibited, physically eliminated by the changes to the median. You'd still be able to turn left to go get onto Elmhurst from eastbound Bass Lake Road, but you would not be able to exit to eastbound Bass Lake Road from Elmhurst. Instead, the traffic would have to turn right and then make a U-turn at Sherburne Avenue and then go back east. This pedestrian crossing and upgraded bus stop were items that were in the 2016 station area plan that came out of many community meetings about trying to make changes occur on Bass Lake Road. And also they were in the previous design of the project when it was going to run on the rail corridor. So this is basically a continuation of what's been in previous plans. Going east of Bottineau, you'll note that left turn lanes have been added for both eastbound Bass Lake Road to turn north on Zane, or westbound Bass Lake Road to turn south on Adair, which helps for traffic safety and flow. And then these shared bike paths on either side of Bass Lake Road would have transitions to the combination of bike lanes on the road and sidewalks off the road. And for the on the north side of Bass Lake Road, that transition would happen at Adair, and on the south side it would happen at Yates. From Bass Lake Road north to 58th Avenue, the airport road access would remain essentially the same as it is today. Some minor tweaks for traffic safety reasons. And you'll note that northbound on-ramp does have a brief auxiliary lane, merge lane, whatever you want to call it, that would then terminate at the airport road exit. But this is very similar to what's out there today at Airport Road. North of the interchange, it basically fits in the existing road footprint. Again, due to the lane reduction, that creates that space. The third of the three total acquisitions would be in this area. This would be the city's auto used car dealership here at 5630 Lakeland. And then finally, it's not on this illustration, but the project is working on exploring the possibility, they have some engineering stuff to figure out, of maybe moving the Crystal Lake Regional Trail, instead of rebuilding it right along the highway, moving it here so it would be on the Backage Road, between the Backage Road and the various commercial businesses that are along here. There are a lot of advantages, reasons to do that, but there are also some physical engineering challenges to work out, and they are working on those as we speak, but they did not have that option sort of figured out and fully vetted in time for the municipal consent plans. So not on the plans tonight, but something you should expect to see in the future if they're able to figure out how to make it work. And then the final Crystal segment from 58th Avenue up through the Brooklyn Park border at 62nd. This one's very straightforward. It fits within the existing road footprint. Median is wider because of the lane reduction. Outside edges of the road are basically where they are today. And there would be a traction power substation probably on the west side of the BNSF corridor in this unused 60th Avenue right-of-way. That is basically the same spot that it would have been in the previous version of the project. And so the landscaping and buffering and all that stuff has kind of already been figured out if the project decides to put it there. But that would be the third of the three traction power substations that would be in Crystal. So I think I will stop there, Mr. Mayor, and see if the council has any questions on the design plans before I get into the municipal consent issues that we've talked about in the past and what the next steps are.
All right, Council, Forrest.
On the U-turn from Elmhurst, I know we had discussed trying to have the actual U-turn, you know, where you'd have to U-turn at that intersection. Take a look at any engineering changes that could happen there to make that U-turn safer and, you know, better, since that's going to be the only way for people coming from Elmhurst to get on eastbound Bass Lake Road. Was there any discussions about that?
We've talked about, well, not with the project about that yet, but it is on the next slide about municipal consent. It's one of the 5 municipal consent items that we want to talk with you about bringing to the project as requirements for them to address that as part of the design changes.
Jump the gun, sorry.
No, it's a very good question, because you all talked about it before. So, but yes, it's one of the 5 items that we will talk about during the work session, about whether you want to include that in the municipal consent.
Go ahead, folks.
Sorry.
You're good.
And then, so right now, we have just kind of the site plans. Are elevations part of our considerations as well? I mean, I just was curious, I hadn't realized the trail connection on the south end of the station there. I don't really remember what the elevation of that looked like. Do we have that?
I have it in a 150 megabyte file I've opened, but I'm not currently
Okay.
sharing. So if I could ask us to reserve that for the work session.
Okay.
That is another good question. I think you're concerned about maybe head clearance under the ramp.
Yeah, I
bridges,
was
which are
just,
a little lower.
I just want to know what it looks like, what the elevations
Yeah.
are.
And I know we have the profiles of the road. I don't know if we have elevations. There are illustrations. I'll see what we can find for the work
Okay.
session.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. Anyone else? No one else? Go ahead, John. John.
And then also, going from County Road 81 onto Highway 100, having the middle lane as a choice lane, is there any traction on that at all?
That's one of our 5 proposed,
Okay.
potential municipal consent items.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Good deal, thank you.
And there's the segue. So these are the 5 items that we have previously identified in discussions with the council, discussions with staff, some discussion with Robbinsdale because they tie into Robbinsdale's segment. One that's we believe critical infrastructure is that the LRT tracks in Robbinsdale at 42nd Avenue be elevated over 42nd Avenue instead of at grade at 42nd Avenue. That's this illustration here. To protect the Joint Water Commission supply main, which runs from Minneapolis to Crystal down 42nd Avenue. It supplies roughly 80,000 people, 70,000 people, I think 70,000 people in Crystal, New Hope, and Golden Valley.
Yes.
So it's a very important water supply, and not having the LRT tracks running over it is a critical issue for us. Another critical issue for the city that has been talked about many times with the project and here with the council and city staff is that this old rural section of West Broadway, this is item B, that runs at least the old section from Highway 100 in Robbinsdale to Fairview Avenue in Crystal, which has never been brought up by the county to modern urban standards. There's no continuous sidewalk or bike path, curb and gutter, storm sewer. It's basically the same old rural road it was 80 years ago. That needs to be put into the project plans, just like the project is done for a section of West Broadway in Minneapolis, where there's no LRT tracks on it. It's parallel and adjacent to a different road that has the LRT on it. We think that this segment of West Broadway and Crystal and Robbinsdale deserves the same consideration that Minneapolis has received. Item C is that choice lane. Now, unfortunately, some of the illustrations go the other way. So in this version, south, it's like the Robbinsdale one here. South is to the right, not the left. But can't really zoom in here. But basically, the idea is anyone who's driven south on Bottineau knows that there's only one of the 3 lanes that goes to 100, to go south on 100. But if you look at the traffic data, which I think most people don't know, but you probably sensed it as a driver in that area, about half the traffic is going on 100. So right now, the backup, that queuing problem, is largely because half the traffic is being pushed into one third of the lanes. So one solution to that we have asked for in the past is that middle lane on southbound Bottineau become a choice lane. So that middle lane could choose whether to stay on Bottineau or go south on 100. So half the traffic would be able to go into effectively half the lanes, and that would help with that throughput to southbound 100. Item D this has to do with maintenance and snow storage. You can see that frontage road segment right in front of Maxit Pond. There's basically no snow storage in there. There's the shared trail or sidewalk here, I think it's a 26-foot wide, 2-lane, no parking road, so it's not a particularly wide road. And then there's a narrow concrete median before what's left of the Maxit Pond parking lot. And we're not as concerned about snow storage over here near the parking ride because there's more room there, nor here because there's some boulevard space. But there is a real operational question for us with this design. This is a city street. Where does that snow go? I mean, we can't push it into the Maxit Pond parking lot. We can't push it onto the trail without coming back and making a special trip to haul it away or something. We don't even know what that would look like. So the ask is that they have to provide boulevards for that segment, however they do it. Or has to be boulevards on both sides of Lakeland in that vicinity. And then this goes to Councilmember Idebo's question about the Bass Lake Road median. This is an aerial photo of the existing condition. See how the median tapers down? It's a pretty tight U-turn here, if anyone's tried to make that. I know I have. It is not easy unless you have a small car. So we at least want the project to explore. The median is much wider further east here. Somehow making that median wider and maybe doing that taper over here or something. We don't know exactly what that looks like engineering-wise, but there needs to be something done here to make that U-turn, which the project is now forcing drivers to do, if they're trying to go east on Bass Lake Road from Elmhurst, is to be able to make that U-turn a little more practical for most vehicles. Yes, a vehicle can maybe make this if it's a small vehicle and they're just optimally turning, but we know most drivers don't know how to optimally turn. I know I sure don't. And so that is what that municipal consent issue is about. So those are the 5 that we've identified. Before I move on, are there any council questions or comments on these, Mr. Mayor?
Taji?
And I think just to provide context, these have been identified for quite some time. We have put these forward and asked for partnership and collaboration and maybe haven't received the partnership that we have hoped for. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, except for items D and E. D has been talked about at a staff level. E, we haven't brought up yet because we wanted to go through this discussion. But A, B, and C, absolutely. We've been talking about some of the B and C especially, but even A, we've been talking about our concerns with the project team for quite a bit, for like well over a year on B and C, 2 years actually.
Go ahead, Forrest.
On issue A, the Joint Water Commission main, that one I think we've discussed less here in depth, and I was just wondering, is that issue related more towards disturbance during construction or maintenance long-term, or both?
Both.
Okay. And then my other question is, it's not, you said you discussed this with, your counterparts of the county and Metro Transit. Have any water mains of this size been crossed in the other light rail projects, do you know, or?
I don't know. It's quite possible, given where those lines have run, but I do not know how those were dealt with.
Okay. I would just be curious if there were construction issues there or whatnot. So.
Just when we actually the JWC approved a letter to provide for Robbinsdale at the meeting this week. Last week. And one of the issues is that we did have an issue with that main several years ago, and there was a 75 by 75 foot pit that we had to excavate to access it. So it's not just the protection, but access to it is a significant part. So whether that's additional valves that need to be put in, there's other considerations that are obviously important, critical for all the parties.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we had 2 repairs in that, real close to that space, all within the last 10 years, I believe. Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? John?
So, next steps. Tonight, as soon as I'm done with my presentation, I almost am, then the city council should receive public comment on municipal consent. That's what the public hearing is for. And then after tonight's council meeting, there'll be a council work session here to discuss the potential municipal consent actions, including the ones that I just had on the screen, and anything that came out of the public hearing, public comments on design changes they'd like to see. This is the time to talk about changes to ask the project to make. That's what municipal consent is about. And then we anticipate that on September 3rd, city staff will present to the council one or more versions of a draft municipal consent resolution for further discussion. We have a backup date for that on September 12th at that work session if needed. And then the anticipated date for a city council vote on a municipal consent resolution would be September 17th. That's 4 weeks from today. If the council isn't able to reach a majority on that to take a vote, then October 1st is our backup meeting, and the statutory deadline to finish this process is October 10th. So that's what we have coming up. And with that, I will ask again if there are any questions for the council. Otherwise, it would be appropriate for the mayor to open the public hearing.
Yeah, go ahead, Forrest.
I'm sorry, I have so many questions all the time, but on one of the items that we had talked about in the past, and I believe last time we talked about it, the question was it hadn't quite been decided. The beacon on the pedestrian crossing for Bass Lake, has that been finalized, what type of beacon that will be?
No. And the answer, sorry, I'm trying to think through where we last left that. There's a hawk signal, which is the more in-your-face kind of beacon for drivers, and then there's the rectangular flashing beacon like we have at Douglas and 32nd and 36th and Welcome. And I believe we're not far enough in the design plans to know what exactly they would put there.
Okay.
But in RRFB, that's the Douglas 32nd, Welcome 36 type, is, I would say, guess more likely than a hawk signal. But we have not gone to that level of deliberations with the project team yet. I think we did bring it up, that question, to them in staff municipal consent comments, and I don't think we got a response yet. So
Okay.
It's something that will be resolved as we progress with the design.
Okay. I would say, for me personally, that's a pretty big issue. I don't believe that a style similar to what we have down on Douglas would be adequate there, just based off the volumes and speeds and the number of conflict points there. It's pretty intense.
Mr. Mayor, that's an excellent example of the kind of thing during the work session. No fault for bringing it up now.
Yeah,
I just
sorry.
mean, that's exactly why we're having this whole process, is so that later tonight, you can tell us what did we miss, right? What did staff need to add as municipal consent items that it wants in the plans? So this is the time. So that's a perfect example of the kind of stuff you should all be thinking about tonight.
So not right now is the time, but soon is the time. All right. Yeah, all right.
Anything else? All right. Let's see, where else? All right, next, I'm going to open the public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive comment and council consideration regarding the municipal consent plan for the Blue Line extension. We've heard from John. He's addressed the council. The council's had some questions. At this time, the public hearing is open, and we'll be soliciting people who wish to speak to the council. We don't have paper, so we're going to invite people one at a time. I'll call on you if you have your hand on. Let's do it that way. Anybody wishing to speak in the public hearing? All right. Could you step forward? Do us a favor, state your name, give us your address, please.
My name is Ann Berger. I live at 4825 Veracruz. The apartment's right behind Steve-O's. And I do not think that we should be doing this blue line down 81. First of all, originally this blue line was supposed to be running in 2021 on the BNS corridor. Second of all, I grew up in a house 2 blocks from where I currently live, next block over from John. And we waited 40 years for them to widen 81, back when it was Highway 52. And at one point, they were going to put a cloverleaf over by Kavanaugh. And back in the late 60s, they tore out all kinds of houses on both sides of 81. And all that property stood vacant for 40 years because nothing got built. The city lost all the tax base in that time. And then in 2010, 2011, they started rebuilding all those houses of the houses they tore out. And now you want to tear up 81 again and lessen the lanes of traffic and put a light rail down there. That's stupid. And we've waited years for all this stuff and nothing's happened. And to start tearing up 81 again, no.
All right, thank you, Ann.
Yep.
Did you want to go next? Guy in the purple shirt, back row. It was both of you.
Well, I would second Ann's comments about 81. I think I can't remember who I sent it to, but I think it was a DOT.
Start with your name and.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I spoke earlier. Ben Fugate, 5602 57th Avenue North, in Crystal. I think a long time ago I emailed. I think it was the DOT and said, "Why did you widen this 81? Aren't you just going to put the light rail through?" And the response back, and I don't know who it was. I have to go find it at some point. Was, "No, we're never going to do that. We're never going to take the lanes away. Even if we put the light rail through, we aren't going to take the lanes away." Well, then now they are. I would second that. And I understand the BNSF issues, and I understand the railroad is like an empire, and I understand that they probably have much say in that, and they are not going to give in. I get that part. But if you look at like SWLRT, they're not doing that. They're not going down Excelsior or Minnetonka or Lake Street or any of those. 7, they're not even taking away 7, which is a similar type of highway. So I think the suggestion needs to be, can you find another route, please? Either above grade or something else. Please find another route, because no other highway is being affected like this with other light rails that I know of. If somebody knows of one, go ahead. Let me know. I know Minnehaha is a little bit like that, or Minnehaha and Hiawatha, but so I think that's one of the main concerns. The other main concern, when I've used public transit, twice when I've used it, I've had to report crimes of people being, not like violent crimes, but people on the bus being a problem and having to be removed. I think both of them are under the influence of something. So I would rather not have those kind of people, whatever creed they are, being in this area, or being bused to this area, being brought to this area, should I say. And I think the other thing is that the Bass Lake Road is really concerning to me, because I live right by it. I'm not really sure I'm going to get to work. I go to Plymouth for work. I'm not going to use light rail because it's Plymouth. So not really sure what I'm going to do. All the options don't look great. I did have a question, but if you can't answer it now, that's fine. Maybe this is for your work project. I thought that originally I don't know, John, if you have the Bass Lake Road, not the Bass Lake Road, the Bass Lake Road to 58th picture. I thought originally the airport road would not have access back to Botno. Has that been changed from previous?
Yep.
I can answer that if you like,
Yeah,
Mr.
please.
Mayor. Yeah, that's an easy one to answer. So originally, it was going to be like you saw in the drawings tonight, and then for a brief period of time, they were trying to modify it so that the airport road access would be taken away, and the only option there would be to turn off 81 onto the frontage road near Thunderbird Aviation.
Yeah.
The project has now gone back to what they had a year ago, or 2 years ago, whenever.
So it's basically the same access as it is now?
Correct.
Okay. I think the main concern I have with the Bass Lake Road is that the railroad is so close to 81 that to build anything, unless you're going to build you can't build Bass Lake Road over the railroad because you're not. It's that great. So you're looking at, especially if there's school bus, a Metro Transit type vehicle stopping, especially in that right lane, you could be backing up half a mile back towards like Adair Zane. Just people waiting there. You've got that light is like 5 seconds. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've had it with third or fourth car. If I'm in the third or fourth car, I might not even get through. Or if I do, I'm going on yellow. And now I get, yes, there's no 81 there. I get that part. But now you have, what, 2 lights? Am I understanding, or is it 1 light? I'm not sure. But the point is, it's just not gonna be pretty. Any prettier than it is now. I'll put it that way. So those are my main concerns. My understanding is it's best to probably go to county council to ask them to stop the project altogether. I get that part. But just as far as the city, I feel like the city should say, can we have another route? Can there be another route? Starting from wherever it's starting, Target Field, is there another route available? Because as far as I know, except maybe Hiawatha 55, Southwest Minneapolis, no other highway is being treated like this with light rail. So that's my thoughts.
All right, thanks, Ben. All right, go ahead.
The other purple shirt?
Hello, my name is Robert Coleman. I don't live in Crystal, I'm sorry. But what I am here to say is that I think that this project is a really good opportunity for people who don't live in Crystal and are able to take the light rail or take other good transit options to the city of Crystal. When it comes to like how I could get here, it takes a long time to get here. Oftentimes travel times by transit are like 2 to 5 times as long as by car. In terms of, there are so many opportunities of like businesses that I've seen in Robbinsdale or in Crystal. I'm like, hey, I would love to go there. Except it takes over 2 hours to get from where I live. And I think that in terms of the opportunities that this project will give, there have been studies that show that having high quality transit increases the amount of economic mobility for people who live nearby it. People are able to more easily get to high quality jobs in a cheaper way that allows them to have more social mobility, more economic mobility, to allow them to, go enter the middle class or to have a better standard of life for themselves. And when you look at the supplemental draft environmental thing, the environmental effects, they go through a whole bunch of them, floodwaters and soil quality and potential contamination. But really, in terms of the whole project, most of them are very minor and only really for the construction. But in terms of the ones that are real are like the sound, but that's mostly in Minneapolis. In terms of the effects in Crystal, it is 4 single-family homes and 1 multifamily dwelling that has 14 units. And it feels like in terms of, there's also like the traffic, where it shows in there that it will overall have a positive effect. It will decrease traffic. It will make it easier for cars traveling on, for example, on Bottineau at Bass Lake Road to go straight without having to stop at the light. I think that in general, all of the potential benefits outweigh the negatives. And in terms of the municipal consent, I don't think that delaying it further, requesting a moratorium is at all appropriate in terms of how long that the Twin Cities has waited for and how other cities have been waiting for these kinds of improvements. And now there's this great opportunity to have all of this, have a really good project in Crystal. And I think that in terms of I was talking with my friend back there, and we had some trouble figuring out what C was, but I think we eventually figured it out. But A, I think that maybe leave that one, if you were to do that one, leave it more open-ended, so that maybe if there was another solution that could be found that isn't elevating the light rail tracks over the water main, maybe if they can find some other creative solution to have that maintenance not be as burdensome, then leave it a little bit more open-ended so that more creative solutions could come in without having to elevate the light rail over that intersection. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Robert. Anyone else? Yep.
Good evening, Heidi Schmidt, 5038 Quail Avenue North, Crystal. I just have some more questions. I had some questions when I came in, but I got more since John went through the slide deck. First off, how does the expanded shoulder help with the left turns for emergency vehicles. I live in the Kavanaugh Oaks area, and when the light rail goes off, it's going to essentially make our community a dead end for everything because the light rail is going to go right down there. As you know, fire department and all that is on the west side of Bottineau. We live on the east, and left turn. You got to come over that light rail to get into our neighborhood, and I don't understand how the expanded shoulders will help with that. So I'd like to know that. I'd also like to know what kind of studies have been done as you're considering hopefully a disapproval of the system, what that looks like in terms of expanded emergency response times into that neighborhood. As you know, several years ago, this council approved the 55-plus community in that neighborhood. I have sirens all day long and emergency vehicles coming into that complex, and I think this is going to continue to harm or to add harm to those residents because they won't be able to get the quick response that they do today because they will have to wait for the light rail. As we know, the light rail has a priority over emergency vehicles. It does not stop. If you look at the statutes, it does. In addition, the traffic pattern on 2 lanes versus 3. I go to work, I leave that neighborhood, I take a left-hand turn onto Bottineau so I can get onto Highway 100. There are, somebody mentioned cars, I wait 3 cars. If I'm the 4th car waiting for that light, I have to wait for another light. And now if I'm gonna have a train, that's gonna delay my travel as well as others coming in and out of that neighborhood to take those left-hand turns. COVID's happened, it's a real thing. Traffic has changed. People do not go downtown. If you look at restaurants that are closing, businesses that are closing, Target no longer has employees that are required to be in that building. This plan was made when traffic patterns were pre-COVID. And so I think as you look at hopefully disapproving and think about what are your problems or what are your solutions going to be as a recommendation, I would recommend that the council goes back and re-look at current traffic patterns and make their new recommendation based upon that as we move forward. The other thing is, you know, my council member told me that there's nothing we can do about it. And so my question is, if it's going to go through, what is the noise mediation? So if you think about Kavanaugh Oaks, there is single-family homes right along Bottineau. Is there going to be something for noise mediation put in place? I didn't hear any of that on the plans or any of the recommended. So that would be one thing that I would like to consider. And then have you guys explored, and I know that you're working on a working session, but like, are there other things that you might like feedback from on terms of ideas or what you have explored already in terms of other opportunities? I don't think Bottineau's the right thing. I do think the rail that's already there could be another option to explore, going back to BNS and considering that. And then the last one that I have in my notes is, why in the world are we keeping the stations open? Like, why don't we have enclosed stations? I have been going, you know, I used to live in Egan, and so we would occasionally take the rail, and we stopped. We've lived now in Crystal for 11 years. And the crime that we would see with those open stations was really bad, and so we stopped taking it. And I don't really want to see that happen in our community. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you, Heidi. Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to speak? John, we have one online?
Yes, sir, if we're all done in the room.
Yep, I will circle back in the room, but let's go ahead and hit that one now.
Okay. Mr. Winter, I believe you asked to speak.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
State your name and address for the record.
Cannot hear.
Sure. Oh, you cannot hear me?
We can barely.
Oh, no.
hear you. Very faint. Is that our side or his side?
Mr. Winter, can you increase your microphone volume?
Perfect.
I don't believe so, so I'm doing my best.
We can hear you
is
now,
this
sir.
helpful? Okay, great. Okay, cool. Hello, my name is Jeremy Winter. I also do not live in Crystal, alas, although I came over to your lovely town today. Funnily enough, I live right by the 14 bus, so I actually already have a direct line to your town. I ate at Milton tonight. It was a really wonderful restaurant. You know, I live not too far from the Blue Line, and the Blue Line is just a really wonderful thing in my life. I don't have to deal with all the traffic on Hiawatha Avenue, which is really nice. I own an electric bike, an e-bike, and, buses can't really accommodate e-bikes, whereas the light rail can because it's much more open. It's very easy and accessible. I come from the suburbs too, not suburbs here. I come from New Jersey suburbs, but I had a train line back home to New York City, and it really was just such a staple and like pivotal thing in my life. Having that rail connection, it's just a wonderful thing, and I would really love to hopefully be able to come up to Crystal and enjoy more nice dinners easier, because the 14 bus goes very, very, very slowly. But the light rail would be a wonderful, wonderful solution to that. And I would love to, see y'all folks come over here too. I feel like there's a lot of acrimony and negativity around this project. And, I think there's so much potential for wonderful, positive things here. And just so much opportunities connecting the Twin Cities Metro that it brings me a lot of joy. I think y'all will find that once it's in place, you'll find that more people you won't have to deal with as much traffic, because people will be able to take the light rail to downtown instead of having to drive along the street, and you'll have super easy, convenient access to all the bars in the North Loop, and you won't have to worry about driving home intoxicated because there's a train now. There's just so many issues so many wonderful things that I think will come of this, and I really hope to see it go through. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jeremy. Do we have anybody else online?
Let me check the chat, Mr. Mayor. Only Mr. Winter. Let me see if I can get this to. Yep, nobody else has asked
All right.
to speak.
Last call in the room. Anybody wishing to speak? All right. Oh, we got one.
Hello? Do I have to speak?
Yeah, just bend the microphone towards you. And don't be afraid to speak into it.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Name for the record, my name is Katie Hegel, and although I currently rent in Hopkins, less than a mile from the Southwest LRT, I have purchased property in Crystal, and that property is located at 4545 Hampshire Avenue North. My only comment for the council is that I support efficient, safe, and accessible public transit. I'm very excited about the opportunities that LRT provides, including in Hopkins, Crystal, and elsewhere. I do want to echo the consideration when it comes to fare enforcement and other safety measures. I would love to see a consideration of turnstiles being added, or enclosure, or other fare enforcement measures. I think this would be a positive for everyone. And I really want to see this project succeed. I want to see people using it. I want to have the kinds of experiences that I had growing up outside of Chicago. We never drove into Chicago. We always took the train. As a family, it was safe. And when I spent a semester abroad in Dublin, I took the train many times per week. It was always a safe and efficient and enjoyable experience. I want to see that happen here. So, looking forward to what this project brings, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Katie. All right. Anyone else? All right. This time I'd like to close the public hearing. Council action, what are we doing here? So we'll continue the discussion for the municipal consent. Looking for a motion to continue that conversation.
Mr. Mayor?
What am I?
Sorry to interrupt. I don't think any motion is necessary. You've closed the public hearing, and that was all that action
All right.
item was.
Okay.
So just a continuation.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that should have been removed. All right. For our regular agenda, will consider disbursements of $25,000 or greater. I will read those into the record at this time. And first item for expenditures, $25,000 or greater. First one is for the Met Council wastewater services for August, $143,220. Waste management for New Hope Brooklyn Center and Crystal June Recycling for $75,067. Weber Recreational Design for pool improvements, $334,112. West Metro Fire Rescue District for June, July, and August contributions to West Metro Fire is $408,654. Jenny's Journeys for the senior trip is $37,110. Logis for IT services is $198,608. Municipal Builders, Inc. for Pump House Project, $96,487. Nick's Tree Service, Inc. for the ash tree and stump removal, $70,345. Golden Valley Joint Water Commission for June water expenses, or charges, I should say, $191,081. Northwest Asphalt, Inc. for the 2024 utility reconstruction, $113,565. SEH Inc. for the same thing, reconstruction utilities, $43,813. Kevitt Excavation LLC for pool excavation, $120,536. Boys Contracting LLC for the Joint Water Commission valve, $51,519. Core and Main LP for Census Radio Upgrade Project, $80,190. North Country Chevrolet for the New Streets Department truck, $44,956. IRS electronic payments, federal and FICA withholding for payday, or for taxes for, pay date 7/5/24, $71,956. Same for the taxes for pay date 7/19/24, $73,902. And the same for pay date 8/2/24, $72,439. Min para for the employee city required contributions for pay date 7/19/24 for $71,841. For the same thing for pay date 8/2/2024, $73,552. For U.S. Bank for debt service payment, $99,200. Health Partners, Inc. for August health insurance premiums, $141,913. Total disbursements of $25,000 or greater is $2,614,073.28. Are there any questions from the council? That was a long one.
Because we haven't.
Yeah, go ahead, Taji.
What is this Jeannie's Journeys?
That's for seniors, that's being run through the Parks and Rec.
So it's a recreation program. There's a senior citizens have a travel trip. The travel agency, Jeannie's Journeys, they bill us, and so it's all reimbursed paid for by the travelers, by the participants. So we're basically a conduit for the fund, but we issue the check, which is why it has to go through.
Did you think we were sending the Cooper seniors somewhere?
Okay.
That's okay. I had that thought my first time.
Okay, reimbursement. Thank you.
I had to ask the same thing last year.
It's okay. We all did it.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we're talking about it, where are they going?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows? I don't know.
Unlike
All
part
right.
of the seniors.
Councilmember Idle, I don't recall. There's a variety of trips throughout the year, and you sign up, and then we do get a small amount of that we keep for coordinating the trips.
Okay.
But, there's a variety, they're great trips, and
I've seen them in the newsletter.
They're very popular.
So this isn't just one trip, it's like for the whole year?
I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly what this is, if it's for one, because they're not like a bunch at a time.
Right, there's like
They're like every
few,
couple
yeah.
months, there's another trip.
Few. This is the only invoice that we've received
Okay,
this year.
all right.
Right.
Stumped you.
Thank you.
We're
That's the
expecting
goal,
Jeannie's
that's the
Journey.
goal, right? Any other questions on any of these other items? Seeing none, how about a motion? Reese?
I'll make a motion to approve expenditures over 25,000.
All right, looking for a second. John?
So moved.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Second item is in reference to the JPA agreement for PUPs, which is Pets Under Police Security. Deputy Chief Hubbard is here to address the council on this item. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. So we just got done with the Olympics, and when you watched a relay, the relay goes well when the handoff actually happens without fumbling around at all. The relay on this fumbled just a little bit. So the narrative that you have in your memo is a little different than what's the case. Your memo says that there was an addition of a city. That actually is not the case. We added a city last year when you approved it. The change in the JPA is some operational verbiage based on PUPS has been having some issues with some other cities, not our city, and the length of time and the condition of how some of the animals have arrived at PUPS. And the way the JPA was worded, the PUPS staff were having some difficulty either doing something with those animals or getting kind of more immediate care when they needed it. So the verbiage, basically, the change allows for the PUP staff to seek care a little bit more easier than they had previously. So that's actually the change. All of the rest of the verbiage in the agreement is the same. The financial conditions and terms are the same as what was previously approved, just that change operational. So my apologies for, in the chief's transition, me not explaining it correctly and slipping the baton in her hand as she was fumbling. So that's the gist of the change to the JPA.
All right. John, go ahead.
I see that Maple Grove has a termination clause in this, and they're like the only one that has a termination clause in this agreement?
Yeah, so the way PUPS has been set up since its inception is that Maple Grove actually operates the PUPS facility. So they employ the staff. It is in a Maple Grove-owned facility. And so the way it's written, any of the member agencies can get out of that arrangement by basically with a 6-month clause. But Maple Grove has the ability basically to close and terminate this as it stands if they chose to, because they're doing it. Everybody else would then have to figure out what they do, which that's been the verbiage that's been longstanding, I believe, since the inception of the arrangement.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Chief? Seeing none. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, looking for a motion. John?
I make a motion to approve the joint powers agreement with the Pets Under Police Security.
All right, looking for a second. Go ahead, David.
I will second that.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, our city planner, Dan Olson, is here to address the council, and he's going to talk about a first reading of a rezoning for 6203 and 6213 36th Avenue. Welcome, Dan.
Yes, thank you again. So this item tonight is our items 6.3 and 6.4 on your agenda. They're both items are relating to the same development. The first is a rezoning to PD for this project, residential project, and then the second is a lot consolidation plat for this development. So here, showing by the arrow, are the two lots that are involved in this development. This shows the area that we notified the resident, the property owners around these two properties. We also went through all these various ways to alert them of this public hearing that the Planning Commission held and how they can comment. So here is a recent aerial photo showing, it's a little hard to see the property. There is a house in there. It's a single-family home that's existing right there. That's the only building. There's a garage, and then there's an outbuilding that are all related to that single-family home. So a little bit of an introduction. Creek Edge Townhomes LLC owns the properties on 6203 and 6213 36th, and they are proposing to construct 4 twin homes for a total of 8 units on the property, accessed from one driveway off of 36th Avenue. Creek Edge is proposing to is requesting to rezone the property from single-family R1 to planned development. The underlying zoning would be medium-density residential, and the applicant proposes also to consolidate the two lots into one, which is an action that only the city council takes. The planning commission did not see that according to our UDC, so they just looked at the rezoning. The property is designated as medium-density residential in our 2040 comprehensive plan, which is 6 to 16 units per acre. The proposed density for this project is the least. It's 6 units per acre for this project. This property has been guided medium-density residential since 2000 for the 2020 comprehensive plan. So it's been almost 25 years that it's been designated this way. Here is the site plan for the development. You can see the 8 units, 4 twin homes accessed off that one driveway off of 36th Avenue. They are also proposing to have a storage building on the south part of the development. I'll speak about that in a little bit. And then just west of the driveway will be some visitor parking, 6 spaces, and then also 2 stormwater ponds in that whole west area. So a description of the twin homes. First question is, are they going to be owned or rented? At this point, the applicant is saying they're going to be rentals, but in the future, he may submit what's called a common interest community plat or condo plat to be able to sell each of these units to owner-occupied or owner-occupants. That's a process that currently they have to go through Planning Commission, City Council to do, but that would be something that would be available to him. The building height here is 2 stories or 27 feet to the roof peak. The size of each unit, it's 739 square feet on the main floor and then 1,100 on the upper floor for a total of 1,900 square feet per unit. Each unit would have 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths with an attached garage of about approximately 400 square feet. There will be no basements on these units either, and they will each have a rear patio. So here is the elevations on this slide and next slide. The west elevation that's what's going to be you would see as you're driving into that main driveway off of 36th. And then below that is the elevation from the east side of the property, so toward the single-family area. The proposed major exterior building material is engineered wood siding with manufactured stone as an accent material. Here are the other 2 elevations, the north facing 36th, and then the south, which is facing another townhome development to the south. The floor plan for these is shown here. You can see, I went through this already, you can see on the main floor there's the living room, dining room, kitchen, and mudroom. And then on the upper, for each unit, it would be the bedrooms, a laundry, and then the bathrooms. Notable site elements. The PD zoning allows for customized site development standards. So the applicant is requesting 2 what I would call site variations. First, this PD zoning would allow for more than 1 principal building on the one consolidated property. And then secondly, the north setback would be reduced from 30 feet, which is under the which would be required under the for an R2 dwelling in the R1 district or R2 district to 30 feet, to 20 feet, I'm sorry. So in this table here compares requirements under the current R1 district for a 2-family dwelling with the proposed requirements for a PD rezoning for the same type of building type. You can see that I'll get to this when I get into the lot consolidation, but the lot area, lot depth, and lot width will more than exceed what is required with the PD and the lot consolidation. As I said, that underneath our R1 district, you can only have 1 principal building, but underneath the PD, you can have multiple buildings per lot. The setbacks are all going to be exceeded, except for the north, as I said, along 36th. It will be reduced from 30 to 20 feet. Parking, each twin home will have a 2-car attached garage with a driveway access from the main driveway off of 36th. And then, as I mentioned, there's going to be 6 surface parking spaces for overflow or visitor parking. Stormwater water management, as I said, there's going to be 2 stormwater ponds on the west side of the property. Impervious surface right now is very low because it's only a single-family home on a very large lot. But after all is said and done, it will be 33%, which is much less than the maximum of 75% normally required under the R2 zoning. And then, as always, we have erosion control measures will be in place during construction. Utilities, the twin homes will connect with existing water and sanitary sewer mains in 36th. Each new twin home will have a separate water meter with its own curb stop and shutoff valve. And then there are currently no easements on the property right now, but they will be dedicated with the lot consolidation plat. Landscaping, 12 new trees are to be planted, and all 3 of these are on our approved tree species list you saw earlier tonight. The developer had a tree survey done. There's 93 trees on the property. 18 will be preserved. Our UDC does allow trees to be removed without replacing them if under different scenarios, and I've listed them there on this slide. The ones that are applicable to this development are trees can be removed if they're less than 12 inches in size. They are not on the approved tree species list, and they are obstacles to development. So just looking through the reasons that they're going to be removed, the first 2 are really the predominant reason why trees are being removed. First, that they are less than 12 inches in size, and then secondly, there's quite a few trees on this property that are not on our approved tree species list, including many ash, which we know are not in good shape now, and then also there's quite a few maples on there, which are also not on our approved species list. So those are the main reasons why so many trees are being removed here. And then exterior lighting, 1 new light pole will be installed near the visitor parking. And then there will be new wall fixtures on the twin home units. So for the PD rezoning, there are 2 development standards. First, it has to comply with a 2-acre minimum, but there are exceptions to that rule, which this property fits. First, it's preserving a natural area, which is the west side of this property is almost all floodplain, so that will be preserved as open space. And then the second finding is that it doesn't have to meet the minimum 2-acre area because it's in our redevelopment area. This is in our comprehensive plan for 2040. We've designated a few areas that we call redevelopment areas, and this is located in area D, I think it is, if memory serves me. So, and then the other development standard here is that is to provide a private recreational area. It's been determined that this is not applicable to this development. The property is really too small to have a private recreational area. And then there are 3 city parks that are within 1.5 mile that will provide recreation for this development. So the Planning Commission had a public hearing last week, and they recommended approval of the rezoning with the conditions in the staff report. No one from the public provided comments. So tonight you're being asked to approve the first reading of the rezoning ordinance. The next steps would be to approve the lot consolidation, which I'll get to after these on the next slides. And then on September 3rd, you would do second reading of the rezoning ordinance. Construction would begin in late '24 and be completed by mid-25. So that's my presentation for tonight. The builder is also here in the room to answer any questions you may have as well.
All right. Any questions for Dan right now? Yeah, go ahead, Forrest.
Looking at this road, I was wondering, this won't be any issues in terms of like visibility coming out onto 36 like that with trucks. I don't see a turnaround, so I was wondering if there's like a garbage truck going in there. Are they going to be reversing out?
It's been designed with the city engineer has looked at this as well as the fire department, and they've looked at it for the ability for fire trucks to get in and out, and they're okay with the configuration of the road. There is quite a distance between this and the curb cut to the west that enters that commercial strip area, so that's, we don't really believe that will be a conflict point for this. There's also right across the road from there for the liquor store. There is also a curb cut, but that's also pretty far away from this. So we don't see conflict points here with that. There's only 8 units, and so it's not a ton of traffic. That's the other thing. These roads are, as you can see in the staff report, they're designed to hold more traffic than actually is occurring according to latest traffic counts. So the combination of all these
I guess
elements.
my main concern was for garbage service, they will have to back out because there's no turnaround, correct? Onto 36.
There is no turnaround, correct?
Yeah, so they would be reverse, okay. No?
The developer, it sounds like he wants to address that.
Yeah, feel free to speak up here.
Hi, thanks for having us this evening. It's been a pleasure working with the staff here so far, so.
Good.
As far as your point, as far as the turnaround, so we did add this parking, this visitor parking. That should also assist with the trucks, if they pull into driveway, kind of back out and turn around.
Okay.
Also, if you look at the entrance off of 36, there's some trees that we did end up, that are coming out, so it's also gonna help with the visibility quite a bit. So the trees we're gonna plant there, they'll be lower, or there'll be more inset on the lot. So there'll be plenty of visibility to get in and out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep, thank you. John?
So with this project, there's no basements. So what about for like storm shelter? How's that?
That question actually came up at the planning commission. I thought the builder answered that pretty eloquently. Do you want to speak about that again?
Sure. So, I'll answer that question again. The planning commission had that as well. So we actually, a while back, some of the council members came to our apartment complex. We own the Gates of New Hope. It's just around the corner on Medicine Lake Road over there. And that's a 4-story building. There's no basements, and that was built to code, and we're using the same standards here that, whether it's with our architect or the engineer. So we're meeting all the state standards and all the safety standards for what's applicable. There isn't a storm shelter per se, but we don't have one also in the apartment complex. It's 4 stories high without a basement, and we haven't seemed to have an issue there. The one thing we do as far as safety is concerned, we had an option whether to put a fire suppression system in each of the units. So we went above and beyond and made sure that each of the units actually had the fire suppression system.
I would also add it's not uncommon nowadays for townhomes to not have basements. The 34th and Douglas townhomes that the EDA recently sold, that they do not have basements either.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, John.
Just to follow, the reason why I bring it up is we bought quite a few homes in the Crystal Panhandle that didn't have basements. I mean, granted, those homes were not constructed to the best quality, but definitely, I mean, a lot of the homes that went in as a result, I mean, one of the reasons why we put the homes in on those lots was because they had a basement and because of the severe storms that we were experiencing in Crystal at that time. So that's the reason why I, bring it forward, so.
Go ahead,
What's
Teresa.
the street to the east? Is that Colorado?
To the north?
On the east side of it.
Brunswick.
Is that Brunswick? Okay, okay. Is the 6-lot gas parking really necessary since that's a pretty, right there, is that necessary?
Well, the reason we asked the developer to put that on there is because there's no parking on 36, of course, and or on Douglas, and so anybody who's coming to this property would have to cross 36th and park over in the neighborhood over there to the north. So we just felt like there should be some parking here for people, for guests and overflow, for that reason, because it is kind of an area where there's not a lot of street parking that's real close by.
Well, and the garbage trucks need someplace to get around, I guess, so. Anyway, thank you.
All right. Forrest?
This is more a question to the kind of the UDC and that private recreation piece. I know that I've brought this up in the past. You know, it seems, has that ever successfully been implemented? I've heard it's not enough room a few times now.
Yeah.
And I think that it seems like that's kind of, at least your staff's opinion about most things. What would there be enough room? You know?
Yeah. Well, I think that this has been, this was a provision that survived the great rewrite of 2017, and I think this was in there before. I don't know what the history is here of that. If that's been something that we've done a lot. We haven't really had a lot of PD rezoning since I've been here. We've had probably a handful, and some of them were commercial in nature, so they weren't affected by this. So yeah, I guess I'm not really sure how to answer that. Other than this property especially didn't seem very applicable because they have that whole west side as being open space.
Right, and that's kind of what I guess where I was hoping the conversation would kind of go is, you know, it does seem like there's a lot of room, and it does seem like they're already, like this kind of is like, you know, a private open space already. So why wasn't that just counted as hitting it, and we could count it as a win on the?
I guess it's yeah, we could have done that, I think,
Oh, okay.
but it just wasn't considered it wasn't formal. It wasn't a formal open space, you know, maybe where like a park would be, I would think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
To add on to that, we've kind of had that conversation internally too, and one of the upcoming rewrites of the UDC, not rewrites, sorry, tweaks to the UDC, well, we're going to be talking about this, about maybe broadening, making it clear that just private open space might be enough, that they don't necessarily have to have a playground, because maybe there's a park nearby. Like, why make them build something that isn't needed or is duplicative of something we already provide nearby? It should be more tailored to the site. That's kind of the whole point of the PD rezoning, is to be site-specific and look at the site and the conditions around it and what makes sense there. And, yeah, so it's something we will be looking into as part of our next batch of UDC tweaks.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, because my first thought was, well, couldn't you just throw a couple picnic tables and then you have, boom, got it. So I'm glad to hear your staff is thinking about that. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Looking for a motion.
I guess I can. I make a motion amending the ordinance of the zoning map to rezone the property for the Creek Edge Townhomes LLC located at 6203 and 6213 36th Avenue North from low-density residential R1 to planned development R2 PD.
All right, I'll second that. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
I just want to make one comment, you're having the North do the heavy lifting, so I expect you guys to jump on board, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did give you ample time. I think it was
Yeah.
4 seconds, maybe 3. All right. You want to continue, Dan?
Sure. This is the second part of this development, is the lot consolidation. So you're being asked to adopt a resolution to consolidate the two lots owned by Creek Edge Townhomes. So here on the screen is a table is in your staff report that lists the size of each of these two parcels and what plat they're in. The combined total will be 1.76 acres after they're combined, and the address will be 6203 36th. Each unit will then also have an address off of 36 as well. So here is the final plat showing the new easements, especially around the floodplain area on the west side of the lot. So there's 3 criteria for lot consolidations in our UDC. First, is the lot consolidation in conformance with the comp plan? The answer is yes, because as we just discussed, it'll be in conformance with the medium density residential designation. Does the lot consolidation meet the purpose and intent of the UDC? The answer here is yes, because it's The purpose is to create regulations, to create regulations that avoid or minimize negative impacts to adjacent properties. This, we believe, will have a complementary impact on the adjacent residential and commercial areas, fit in there very nicely. And then the last criteria is that does the new combined lot conform to the dimensional requirements of the UDC? And the answer is definitely yes. It far exceeds what we require. So tonight, we're just recommending that you consider a resolution approving the Creek Edge Baruch Addition plat.
All right, thank you, Dan. Any questions on this one? Didn't think so. Looking for a motion.
There we go.
I would like to enthusiastically adopt the following resolution approving the lot consolidation via the final plat of Creek Edge Branch Addition.
All right, Therese.
I will second that.
All right, thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, and thank you.
We are gonna do,
Could you step forward if you want to say something?
I spoke to Dane earlier, he asked me to mention, I think on the 5th, September 5th, if that works for everybody, I'd like to do a groundbreaking ceremony. And I know CCX is gonna be there, so if there's time in the morning that works best, I don't know, 9:30, so 10 o'clock.
Generally speaking, what works for your staff, and
Yeah.
we'll make an effort to get there.
Okay,
We
so
did, we
we'll
love
plan
doing that.
9:30 on the 5th, if you guys wanna come, and I'm sure Dan will send out an email or something.
Yeah, we'd love to be there.
Okay, happy
I'm
to have you
sure
guys. Thank you.
we'll make
you.
room.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you looking for your slideshow? Okay, good. 'Cause I can't find it.
All right, next we will look at the West Metro Fire Rescue District budget. We have our chief, Sarah Larson, here to address the council. Welcome, Sarah.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the budget that I'm looking for approval for tonight is the same budget that was presented to you back in June. The Board of Directors approved that budget at their July 10th meeting. It is a $3,716,599,000 contribution from both cities, and the contribution for Crystal is $1,800,351. And this includes capital, operations, leases for engines and tower, and pension fund and everything. So that is all inclusive, and the contribution that we're asking from the City of Crystals. And if you have any questions or would like me to go over any details of the budget again, I'm more than happy to. Otherwise, I know we've had a lot of discussions about it.
Yeah, we did some freewheeling without paper in front of us the other day. That was pretty impressive. Over at Station 1. Any questions for Sarah on this? Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Taji.
I have no questions, but a comment. So I am supportive of the budget as it is. The thing that gave me pause, as I've shared, is the fact that our partners in New Hope were putting money aside to pay for, just kind of save for future potential things. As I have said and will say, I do not want to have to put money aside for future potential things. I would hope and I believe that West Metro is budgeting appropriately and requesting the appropriate dollars so that they, as an entity, can take care of, their budget and finances. And so that was my only kind of main reservation of this budget and what we do as a council. And even so, if we want to have a conversation of do we need to be putting money aside, I think that's outside of approving this budget. That'd be something we would do on our own, but again, I'm not in favor of that. So that's just the one comment I wanted to make.
All right. Yeah, I think this is the first time we've gotten together as a council without having the fire board and New Hope in the same room. I thought we had a pretty healthy conversation. I thought we had some great direction. I really appreciate all of your inputs in what might be moving forward, because I think that's going to be very positive for everybody involved in this joint venture. So thank you for that. Looking forward to see that happen. Any last chance for questions on the budget? Seeing none, looking for a motion. John?
Make a motion to approve the 2025 West Metro Fire Rescue District budget.
All right, looking for a second. Tashi?
I'd like to second that.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, our Public Works Director, our City Engineer, Jesse's here to address the council. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Jesse Struve, Public Works Director, City Engineer, to discuss the joint powers agreement with the Shingle Creek Watershed Management Commission. This was originally started as a result of a state and federal law in the early 1980s, mandating all communities manage their watersheds. In 1984, the Shingle Creek Watershed Management Commission formed with all the surrounding communities in that watershed and started a joint powers agreement that was originally set for a 20-year agreement. That's been extended 2 different times for 10 years, so we've been on the same agreement for the last 40 years essentially, with some minor changes throughout. The real benefit to the community is it allows this commission to manage projects across city boundaries, utilizing funds from all the cities within the watershed district, so you can really focus on projects that will help the watershed as a whole versus focusing city by city. They also set rules and regulations for developments and treatment of that runoff, no different than the one that you just approved this evening that required the ponds and infiltration rates and cleaning of that stormwater before it discharges into the Shingle Creek and lakes. Some of the major projects that they've undertaken over the years include stabilizing a lot of the creek. Now the creek itself is not very much in the city of Crystal, but they've also worked on large-scale projects, including the Becker Park project. They contributed funds to help reduce some of the flooding that resulted in all the underground tanks under Becker Park. They've worked with Twin Lakes, carp removal, phosphorus loadings, reductions, sediment loading reductions throughout the entire watershed. I believe when in the early 2000s, when they did assessments over the 16 lakes, 13 were listed as impaired, and since through the work from all the communities and through the rule processes, 5 of those water bodies have been removed. So the commission does some good work across all communities, including funds for projects throughout. While there is a fair amount of language changes in the new joint powers agreement, there hasn't been a lot of actual changes to the substance to the agreement itself. Staff has reviewed it through TAC meetings with other staff, and we do not oppose any of the language that has been changed, and we would recommend moving forward with the joint powers agreement. More than happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council? Yeah, John.
So, looking at the status of the lakes meeting standards, so that's just on straight water quality. It doesn't have anything to do with the invasive species or anything like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mayor Adams, Councilmember Budashevsky, you're correct. That's water quality only, not the invasive. Though they do treatment of some of the lakes for some of the invasive species as well.
Yeah.
I know they were talking about some curly leaf pondweed treatments and stuff like that. So they do some treatments associated with invasive vegetation, but yes, the standards are strictly water quality.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else? Forrest?
How similar is this language to our other watershed management organization we're a member of, Bassett Creek?
Mayor Adams, council member, they're very similar. We'll be talking about the Bassett Creek JPA here in the coming coming months as well, because that one's also up. The one difference that we have that we're kind of opposed to right now with the Bassett Creek, we'll see what comes through, but as they want the ability to pay the commissioners that represent, but our city code right now does not allow for payment of our the people. It's a voluntary basis only. So we're submitting those comments here probably next week on that. We'll see where that goes. But I mean, otherwise the language, a lot of the rules are, I mean, there's some changes here and there, but for the most part, very similar.
Okay. I was curious because it seems like the Bassett Creek Watershed Management Organization has like at least on the exterior, a more professional, like robust, exterior looking, you know, like their website, their staff. I get the sense, it just feels like a very different organization than the Shingle Creek one. I was wondering if that came down to language or maybe it's just, you know, their territory and the development that they oversee, so it's maybe funding related.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the commissioners associated with it are different. Yeah, I mean, but
Okay.
the substance behind it is very similar.
Okay,
So
thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Looking for a motion on this one. Go ahead, David.
Let's see, for a resolution to authorize joint powers agreement between the City of Crystal and Shingle Creek Watershed Management Commission.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second. Tashi?
I'd like to second that.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Jesse. Next, our Recreation Director, John Elholm, is here to address the council, and we are going to talk about the pool pumps.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Back again, talking about the Aquatic Center. And I thought,
Page down.
page down, you need to tell me that every time. No, that. Ruh-roh.
I got it.
Thought I'd just start out saying the pool project is coming along nicely. The picture on the left was taken yesterday. Picture on the right was a week or so ago. Concrete floor is in the deep end, in that middle area where the lap lanes are. Tomorrow, I believe they'll be pouring concrete in the shallow part of the pool. So things are progressing nicely. Yeah, so tonight we're here for a structure to protect the pool pumps. The pool pumps are actually in pits that are out on site. In the memo, I had a picture of the 3 different pits that the pumps are in. The bottom center picture is our current or a previous picture of a pump that's down in a hole. On the far right is what we're doing with the rectangular pump that's been out there. Is we took most of it out, we left a part of it there, and then we're going to expand it and make that a bigger pump and put all of the pumps into one enclosure. What we heard from day one is we need to make sure we're doing something to protect the pumps that are in there. So the plan here and what we're presenting tonight is to put a roof over that structure. Just a comparison of the budget we presented back in October versus today. It's basically the same budget. We did add a Hennepin County Youth Activities Grant to that. And then we did have a separate project, the front counter at the community center where you check in. That counter's not ADA accessible. There's a variety of things that need improvement there. We're doing very similar things at the pool building. So we just combined that, so when we get quotes, that we'll just have a contractor do both at the same time. So basically the same budget as we've looked at before. And then most of this we've been here for. So design documents, construction contracts for the pool, construction management, amenities, and then the roof structure here is a $61,228 to get that structure over the pump pits. So the recommendation tonight is, and I should point out, is to enter into agreement with Weber Recreational Design to purchase and install a roof structure over the Aquatic Center pump and valve pit in the amount of $61,228. I should point out that in the memo, I actually had dimensions of the roof. We're still adjusting that slightly. And the reason for that is if you look at this picture where the slide is in yellow and the pump pit, we're putting a sidewalk in there to get to the stairs to go up the slides. It's a little bit narrower than we'd like it, so we're shrinking the size of the pit a little bit so we can widen that sidewalk. So the shelter will actually only be probably 32 feet long instead of 34 feet long. So the recommendation is to approve a resolution, that being the only change is eliminating the size of the structure. The cost will likely be a little bit less too, but I don't have that number tonight. And with that, are there any questions?
All right, questions for John? Go ahead, John.
So why didn't this go out for bid, I guess, in terms of, instead of, just having one cost involved for building the roof, I guess?
Yeah, the pool contractors don't do a lot of structures, so it would have been a separate part of that. We hired a construction, the concrete guys, the demolition people. So whether it was with the bid or separately, I think we're getting a better price this way.
How so?
Sorry, I'm not clear on which part would go out. Are you asking about going out to bid on?
So the $61,228, that's for the
roof.
That's for the
Just the
roof
roof.
structure.
The roof structure, yeah.
And the installation.
The pit, all the mechanicals, that's all part of the pool
Yeah,
contract.
that's all part of the pool, but I'm asking about the roof. Why didn't that go out for bid?
We got multiple quotes on.
You did get, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is the one that the best deal.
This is the best, okay, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I didn't see that in this presentation. I just got, I got this number here, so,
Sorry.
right, okay.
Yeah, a lot of times with amenities, we do it like with benches and different shade and things. We do that separately because we can generally get a better price than just having the contractor, will usually mark it up. If you hire a general contractor to buy those things for you.
Okay. But my big question was, you basically went and solicited multiple quotes on this project,
Right.
and you took the best quote?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, very good. That's what I want to hear. Yeah.
All right, any other questions on this one? Looking for a motion.
You ask the questions, you make the motion, right? So, I make a motion to approve the purchase and installation of a roof structure over the Crystal Cove Aquatic Center pump valve pit.
All right, looking for a second. Therese?
I will second that.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, thanks, John. All right, we're low on announcements, but here we go anyway. City offices will be closed Monday, September 2nd, and that's in observation of Labor Day holiday. The next council meeting is Tuesday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. here at the council chambers at City Hall, and also via Zoom. The city council meetings and work sessions are open to the public. Current and previous meetings are available for viewing and listening on our website at crystalmn.gov. Are there any other announcements from the council? Seeing none, looking for a motion.
Oh, come on.
Got him. I'm gonna do this every meeting until June.
John,
So moved.
looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Therese, wow. I hope that makes your night. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right.
Yay.
You guys have a great night, and we will continue with our work session in just